What is good? Professional shooting coach Colin Castelli here with ShotMechanics Basketball, and today we're going to go over Lonzo Ball's shooting secrets. Now, Lonzo Ball really lit the NCAA up this year, but the hot topic of conversation is his shooting mechanics because they're definitely outside the box and unconventional. But breaking down mechanics is what we do best, so today what I want to do is go through Lonzo Ball's shooting form and see what he does that allows him to get those good results. But before we jump into it, I want to give you free exclusive access to my 7-day shooting challenge. This is a 7-day challenge that's going to revolutionize the way you think about training your jump shot and hopefully increase your shooting percentage that very first week. It's incredibly powerful, and all you got to do is click the link in the description down below to get that 100% for free and get started training today. All right, so now let's get to the breakdown. We're going to start with his feet and work our way up. So the first thing you notice when you watch Lonzo shoot is that he gets great lift and pop on his jumper. And a lot of this is because he keeps his heels off the ground as he's getting ready to shoot. By keeping his heels up and powering off the balls of his feet, it allows him to get that good pop on his jumper and transfer all of his momentum through his body and into the basketball. If you watch a lot of poor shooters, they'll plant their heels into the ground, and so the ground will take all their momentum out of their shot and they have to regather it back up. But if you watch Lonzo, most of the time his heels off the ground and he's getting ready to spring. So try doing that with your jump shot and see if you can get more pop and power immediately. And next, let's talk about his tilt or his foot position. So you'll notice as Lonzo's getting ready to shoot, he's not squared towards the basket, but instead has his feet tilted off to the left. This is really important to his mechanics because it unlocks that upper body shoulder tension, and he wouldn't be able to have the same shot line as he does if he didn't tilt his feet. And this unlock of upper body tension is also another reason why Lonzo can shoot from such deep range. Now here's where you got to experiment, because every player is going to be different. Some players like a big tilt, some players like a small tilt. It's up to you to find out what works comfortable and gives you the best body alignment and fluidity in your shot. All right, next let's move on to Lonzo's feet sweep, meaning that when he shoots, his feet end up closer to the basket than where he started. Now, a lot of coaches will tell you not to do this, but it actually works really well for a lot of players. Because by letting his feet sweep forward, it's going to release tension in his upper body, it's going to give him higher arc than he normally would get, and it's going to pendulum that momentum from his body into the basketball. Now, a lot of coaches hate this because they consider it off balance and like you're shooting a fadeaway, but really, if we pause the video, at the point of release, his body's still straight up and down. Now, like tilting your feet, this is going to be different from player to player. You'll notice that Lonzo has a really big feet sweep coming forward, but some players like a small one. So test and try it out and see what gives you the best results. All right, now let's move up his body and talk about his alignment. This is where his shooting shoulder, elbow, and hip are in a perfect line with the basket on his release. And because of this, even though he has an unorthodox shot line, when he releases in this straight line, he eliminates a lot of his left to right misses. A lot of players also prefer to think about their hip angle instead of their feet angle. And a lot of times where your hip points, your feet will follow. So if you find it hard to shoot with the tilt to your feet, try thinking about your hip alignment and see if that helps you out. Because remember, if you can get perfect alignment, you're gonna eliminate left to right misses, and you're gonna shoot a higher percentage very quickly. Okay, so next let's move into the hot topic of Lonzo's jumper, and that's his shot line. So what a lot of people are freaked out about is that he brings the ball up the left side of his body and then releases by snapping it across his face. Now, while I don't recommend this for most players, especially if you're at an early age and you can develop the correct shooting form, but with him, I definitely wouldn't change it. Because the number one rule in shooting is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And no matter what you think of his dad, LeVar, I think he was spot on when it comes to these comments that he made on Colin Cowherd's show.
He does have an unorthodox shot.
Yes.
What if the NBA says we got to change his shot?
Wrong. They're
Well,
not going to change his shot.
What if they want to?
Hey, here's the thing. Nobody's going to want to if it's productive. I have 3 sons that shoot the ball, and they shoot the lights out, and not one of them had the same form. Because I've always taught them, perfect your form. The best shooters in the world, they don't all shoot the same. Reggie Miller shoots different than Larry Bird. Larry Bird shoots different than Ray Allen.
So I really think that was spot on. And remember, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the number one rule to shooting. Now, the knock that we hear a lot is he won't be able to shoot going to his right with this shot line, but I gotta disagree as long as he's got the proper lower body footwork. Check out on this play how Lonzo uses a right leg drift, meaning his leg's gonna come across his body and twist his hips to get that power and momentum into his shot. Now, because of that, he lands with his feet twisted pretty much all the way around to 90 degrees, but this allows him to shoot that shot effectively. So once he perfects that leg drift, I honestly don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. All right, so moving on, let's talk about his set point. Now, Lonzo definitely doesn't have a traditional set point. In fact, it's kind of to the opposite side of his head. So it is low and it is in a funky position. And much like his shot line, I definitely wouldn't recommend trying it if you're not currently doing it. But the important thing is, number one, it's a smooth one motion shot, meaning the ball never stops in the movement. And number two, he does the exact same thing every time. So he's able to build that consistency and muscle memory. So I don't recommend that you try to emulate it, especially if you're a younger player. But I think he's to the point to where over time he can make just really, really small tweaks and maybe bring it more towards the center of his body. And now let's talk about his release. And this is probably the most important part of his jump shot because even though he's got those kind of funky mechanics, this is where they come back together to give him good results. So here you want to notice how he finishes with a snap of the wrist and with his fingers straight down towards the ground. So this is super important because even though his shot line and his set point are out of alignment, if he can snap his finish off straight, he's going to make up for that. I've heard a lot of people talk trash about his jumper who might have a better shot line and set point than him, but have way worse finishes. And the finish is crazy important because it's the last thing that guides the ball to the basket. But if I was gonna make one quick tweak, I would say to just try to bring the release up a little bit if I was Lonzo, because you'll notice that when he does end up missing, most of the time it's a back iron rocket. And that's because his release is a tad low for the optimal angle that you want to see the biggest surface area on the target. So remember, just like Lonzo, try to remember to snap that release off quick, keeping your fingers down towards the ground, and if you can keep it straight, you're gonna be good to go. All right, if this video helped you out, show us some love by hitting that like button, and then in the comment section, let me know what sort of video you want to see next. I run pretty much everything out for requests, so leave it down below, and hopefully I'll get to it. If you're new to Shot Mechanics, don't forget to hit that subscription button, turn on the notification bell, and get that free 7-day shooting challenge, because it's going to change your game. Again, I'm Coach Colin Castello with Shot Mechanics Basketball. Thanks for watching, and until next time, splash on.